Hello everyone, it's me again. Well, I know no one's watched the last video yet, so anyway, I'm gonna open up this week with the A318, operated by British Airways. It's really a tiny little plane, but it's quite the nifty little aircraft. And once British cancelled their Concorde service, they somewhat replaced the route with this aircraft. What they did was, because they didn't have that route anymore, they took an A318 and they converted it. So all of the seats inside were business class. With a capacity of 32 passengers, they would fly from London City to Shannon and then to JFK. So it essentially took the same role, and it was supposed to be for the super rich, and it is actually one of the smallest planes in British Airways fleet. Certainly the plane with the lowest capacity, because it does only have 32 seats, like I said earlier, because they're all business class. Another interesting thing about the A318 is it's one of the only, it is the largest aircraft capable of doing a steep descent. And I'm not sure exactly what that qualifies, but I know that it means it's one of the few aircraft that are allowed to land at London City, which is a tiny airport. The facilities at London City Airport aren't great, just because it's such a tiny airport. Anyway, so this is the plane. Over here I have a version with the landing gear folded up, so none of it's showing. It's got the little tiny CFMs. Now this is the thing. There's no blue half slabs, so you can see sort of here on the top I've used half slabs to get the curve correct, but because there aren't any blue ones, I've had to actually replace what would be a half slab, or just a slab rather, with full blocks. So and that's the same with the engine, because I used the slabs to sort of get the right contours on aircraft with either gray or white engines. But if they're really any other color than that, it's kind of hard. So I end up just getting rid of the slabs. So yeah, that aside, it's a very small aircraft. Like I said earlier, I think they only have one of these in their fleet. They do have smaller planes. They have the Embraer E190, I believe, and possibly the 170, which I think also do London City Airport, but it flies from there and does domestic flights and European flights. The British Airways A318 carries the standard British Airways livery with the ribbon and the blue belly. Plus, it says British Airways here, but of course, it's kind of hard to fit in. This is the, the identification number, the registration number. And you've got the Union Jack here. So, part of the Union Jack. It's just got one of those blue segments along with the English cross and the Scottish. No, not the Scottish. The St. Patrick's cross, which would be, I believe, one of these is the English cross and one of these is St. Patrick's cross. So the English cross is horizontal and vertical, and St. Patrick's is two diagonal lines, while everything is surrounded in white. So the white on the horizontal and vertical axis are from the English the English flag essentially, and the white on the diagonal is from St. Patrick's Cross, and the blue comes from the Scottish flag, if I'm remembering correct. Anyway, that trivia aside, the A318 actually would usually have a centerline exit, so there would be an exit somewhere over the wing, but because the British Airways one is such low capacity, since it's only 32 passengers and crew, there is no overwing exit, because the two front and two rear exits are enough to evacuate the aircraft in the case of an emergency. Not that they've actually had any. In fact, the A318 has a pretty much spotless record safety-wise, I believe. The British Airways variant of the A318 has a red wing fence tip, and the tracks for the Fowler flaps have a red tip at the back, except for this one that comes off the rear of the engine. You can see here I've actually done the contour for the wing, but I'm still not sure whether or not I'm going to put in the flaps, slats, and spoiler detailing, because I think what happened when I looked into it was that the actual flaps and the spoilers would actually touch somewhat like that, so it would be hard to actually tell the details apart, and it would just look like I've thrown stone in randomly, which I'm not sure I want to do. So I'll think about it more as I go along. Of course, it's 2-to-1 scale. Like I said earlier, I think it's really, I guess it's time to go in and have a look inside the aircraft. Okay, so if we go in, first you're presented with the forward galley, and of course it is business class, and they treat it as such, as one of the higher class business classes. As I'm sure you know, some airlines provide better service, of course at extra expense, and British Airways is known for that, so they have proper catering. You got your forward restroom, your two forward restrooms. There's one behind the door and one next to the cockpit. You got your standard Airbus cockpit with the joystick fly-by-wire system, throttles, pilot seats, two jump seats, one on either side, and your locked cockpit door. So there's the galley again. So two things happened. One was the cross-sectional shape of the fuselage made it so that it's not actually there's not actually as much space between the skin of the aircraft and the interior, at least on the top, because if I just take one of these blocks, you'll see if I break it, you're outside on the outer skin, which means that I wasn't able to incorporate lamps above like I would, because normally I would put, say, a slab here and a lamp there, but because of the narrow body fuselage and how close everything is together, I wasn't able to fit that in, hence why the lighting goes under there, just so that even at night this aircraft does have the proper lighting that it would. Another thing is I didn't put the footrest in the front for this front row, because I wanted to try and give that open feel here, and if I were to put like a footrest there, it would kind of block that. Anyway, so you got a special business class actually for this, where everything is forward facing and you got two seats next to each other. There's actually a divider sort of in between here, which I couldn't fit in, and obviously the back wall. I didn't actually see any in-seat entertainment stuck on the back of the chairs. I think it's all in the armrests, if the pictures I saw were correct. So you keep going back, plenty of space in between the seats, and then you got the rear. Oh no, wait, that's the front still. You got the rear galley. Whoops, lost my orientation there. Rear galley and your bathroom. So it's a pretty simple aircraft. Not a whole lot to it, but it's got a special business class arrangement for British Airways, at least. No other British Airways aircraft has the same arrangement. And it is, you know, a very special aircraft because it did take over that route that the Concorde used to do, and its job is to pamper the rich in the same way that the Concorde would have. Of course, it takes longer, but your seat should afford you as much comfort as to make up for the fact that it's not as fast as it once was. Also, there is the convenience of going via London City Airport, which is pretty much in the center of London. Quite handy. It's not as far as Heathrow is. I think it's an interesting little story that they got going there with A318. But yeah, I hope you guys come back, watch more videos. I hope some of you go on and watch my previous video, despite my waffling on about rejoining YouTube. Yeah, but look forward to more aircraft because I have plenty coming. Anyway, hope you guys come back. See you guys later, and I hope you enjoyed the video.